Okay, hello and welcome to this YouTube video where I'm going to be talking to my incredible client Will. And yeah, just kind of give you an insight into his journey because I feel like it's incredibly inspirational. I mean, we're only like what, 4 weeks in, are we? 4 or 5 weeks? Well,
Yeah, four or 5 weeks. Yeah, that's
yeah.
about
So
right.
it's only new into the process, but all that Will has achieved in that time frame has been incredible. So I thought it'd be cool to jump on here, and have a chat. So yeah, welcome, Will. Just going to go through a couple of things and yeah, let people into your journey in the hope that it can inspire them and just see what's possible. When you have the clarity, the support, the structure, and you do the right thing. So yeah, Will. Let's start off with kind of, I guess, how you were feeling about the direction of your health and fitness journey before starting. What kind of place were you in, how you were feeling, and yeah, just talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Well, so before I started, it was I'd say I wasn't like overly positive, overly negative or anything. So nothing that really kind of like prompted me almost to feel like, oh, I'm feeling negative, I'm feeling worse for wear. But I guess it's almost like a moment of realization where like I'm kind of slipping back into what I was before. So even like years back when I was a bit more overweight as well, something like 105 kg or 106 kg, I was starting to lean that way again effectively, and I could notice some of the like bad habits or worse habits were kind of creeping back into my life as well. And then I think one of the things I'd say is that I was probably unclear, so I was trying to get back into the motivation of gymming again or getting back to the health journey a little bit. So stop starts when I could go to the gym for like 2 3 weeks, stop for 3 weeks, and then back and forth again. So I wasn't really going anywhere really, and I just needed that extra push, I reckon, just to kind of really help me push myself along essentially.
Yeah. And when you say kind of, you notice you were falling into bad habits, because I feel like, one of the main things that limits, over 30s is it's always the habits, isn't it? Like your habits are who you are and how you live your life. And it's so easy to kind of, go through a period where you feel like so many bad habits are building in your life and they're just automatic, whether it be food, whether it be lack of exercise, feeling demotivated. So yeah, I guess what bad habits had crept in, and was there any kind of reason why for that? Do you think?
I think it's probably the easy way to summarize it. It's probably the mindset side of things. So when there was two options, the tough option, so the tough but good reward, or easy but relax and worse option, I'd go for the easy option because it's like I said, it was easy. So for example, rather go to the gym or it's raining, yeah, I'll just stay inside and watch Netflix or I'll just play some games or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it was easy just to sit on a couch and not do anything. Oh, maybe I'll pick up some weights a little bit later, which truth be told, I never did. I've got a set of weights at home that are
Yeah.
15 kg that I
At
bought
least
from
you're honest.
COVID. I know, no, because literally I'd give myself an ounce basically. It's almost that again, I want to say bad habits. I guess it's almost like a bad mindset. I guess as well that oh, I'll do this later. Or I'll do it at another time where I feel a bit more convenient or when it's a nice day. Even on a nice day, I find a reason because I was too hot outside now. Can't be bothered. I'm not going out now anymore. So
Yeah.
it's one of those. So it's that shift to again one day where I was again realized that I could be doing something a lot more with essentially it was like 4 or 5 hours after work or something and not doing it was just time for a change, really.
Yeah. Love that. I think what you've kind of said there is as well, like it's so easy to just let yourself off the hook and kind of push your health and fitness down the priority list because, obviously you're a busy guy, you've got a lot going on, with your family, with work and generally like life. So I feel like when you're so busy, if you don't have that clarity and, that goal that you can commit to, it's so easy, isn't it, to just let yourself off the hook, make excuses and kind of, despite maybe deep down wanting to do something, there's just no kind of reason to commit, no accountability,
Yeah.
no kind of clarity with it.
So especially when you're in that state as well, because I think it's easy to say that, oh, you should just done it when you're like fit and healthy, or when you're say fit and healthy, when you're in a different space or a different kind of environment. But when you just finish work, you've just eaten your dinner because it's like 7 o'clock, and you kind of want to try and push yourself. You're in the state where you're more vulnerable, susceptible to being, let's go for the easy option because right now I can't be bothered. So that's where I was finding myself quite often, and again, the option tend to be that I'd go for the easy option rather than pushing myself and getting myself in my comfort zone, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a trap, so many people fall into. There's never any, shame in it. I think it's just being able to consciously recognize that, like I could be doing so much more. And,
Mm.
because a lot of the time as well, we can kind of think we want to achieve something and have all the intention, but then, if we're not actually willing to, make the commitment to just take that first step and make a start, then it, again, before you know it, 6 months has gone and it's like, I still haven't acted on what I said I wanted to. So now it's good that you're breaking the cycle. And it kind of leads me to the next point, about how are you feeling now? And, as I said, kind of at the start of this video, I mean, we're literally like 4 weeks in. So obviously your life has not completely changed, but, I think you've achieved so much in such a short amount of time. And I feel like we underestimate what we can achieve when we have support, we have clarity, we have accountability, and we have the right education. We build strong foundations, change your habits, change your mindset. And I mean, for 4 weeks in, like what, 5 to 6 kilos down, 10 centimeters reduced from across your waistline, which is, significant progress.
It is
So
madness.
yeah,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that, and I guess how you're feeling now that, you've joined the Lean Fulfilled Lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the main difference actually because I'm not sure if people might know, I've done something similar in the past as well before. But I think it's that education piece that's really kind of brought myself around, that's kind of like made that significant impact this time around when I've done my kind of health journey. Because like right now it's building those right habits as well, and I'm looking at those like weekly tutorials or weekly kind of education tips. So for example, I think the identity thing really hit hard with myself as well, because I always not so much push myself down. I guess it is a way of saying push myself down, but telling myself that I'm never this kind of type of person, this type of person, that does kind of reaffirm it a little bit as well. So I'd say, telling myself I'm a morning person, just kind of giving myself that affirmation that I'm a morning person, has really helped kind of change that game, change that shift to, push myself out of my comfort zone, of course, as well. And yeah, right now I'm a lot more positive. I mean, the weight helps, being like, I guess, 5, 6 kg down, but also the fact that, I'm going into things with a different kind of perspective. I'm kind of angling and pushing myself a little bit more when I'm choosing, for example, the options kind of example that talked about the tough option and the easy option. I go for the tough option. People might know I was actually injured for a little bit as well a couple of days ago, but I still push myself to, go to the swimming pool and get the cardio in and kind of rehabilitate myself as well. So don't get me wrong, it's not like pushing myself to the extreme, but it's keeping myself active and keep myself on top of things, even though I'm not able to do a couple of things, of course, as well. So it's that mind shift and that approach to things. I think that's kind of the big significance, of course, as well. And what helps to boot is, the actual physical changes that people see, and, getting comments saying like, "Oh, you've lost weight. Have you lost a couple of kilos?" Right. So that's always a nice bonus. But for me, I drive the value from the education, the advice, to kind of approach things as well. And I'm generally speaking, obviously, a bit more of a positive mindset when it comes to my day to day and general life, I think.
Love that. That's great. And it's nice to hear as well. Like, obviously I labeled, your main progress at the start as, 6 kilos and 10 centimeters from your waist. But actually, as you said, just your well-being, how you're feeling, that shift in mindset where now you've got so much more resilience and kind of discipline in moments when, 4 or 5 weeks ago, you didn't. And a lot of that is now because you're actually on the journey. You've got a goal that's meaningful to you, and you've got that kind of support structure, and almost that roadmap of, here is where I am and here's where I'm going to, and this is all that I need to do. Me, the team, like collectively helping you through that. And it kind of gives you that sense of, yeah, just that purpose and that ability to, to do the work that you need.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm building on top of what you kind of said about that structure or that team behind you as well. On top of just also yourself, Adam, Brianne, there's also the community of clients that you've got as well. That's where almost walking hand in hand. Just the other day, or I think the week, I've got my own personal goal to stay away from the caffeine essentially, and somebody else has had their own things, of course, as well. But holding each other responsible and walking hand in hand that as well was a great sense of belonging, I guess, as well, which is wonderful. We're all in a similar journey, same boat. And the fact that you can find similarities or find, things that you can, help support one another, I think is massive, which is wonderful, of course, as well.
Yeah, it really does help, doesn't it? And I think, community gets thrown around a lot. Like, I've been in communities before where maybe I'm working with a coach or like a business mentor, and, you kind of get thrown into a community group with loads of random people, and you're just like sat in this stagnant group where no one's talking, no one's opening up. And, I've really put so much time and effort into, building the Lean and Fulfilled community to create that kind of safe space where you can feel seen, heard, supported, and and actually be able to have conversations that are going to elevate you. And I've really seen that grow over, especially the last year. And like you said, you're trying to cut out the caffeine. We've got someone who's trying to stop smoking, and just to be able to like share that in a safe environment, get support, and kind of know that, oh, like this other person's on a similar journey to me and kind of going through the same thing. It's empowering, isn't it? It's that sense of belonging. And I know that when I was pursuing my own health and fitness goals growing up, it felt so lonely at times to not have anywhere to turn to or any space where I could just like vocalize how I feel and not feel like judged or like no one understands. So it's really empowering, isn't it, to have that kind of community around you. But just touching on what you said as well, I'm glad you really have enjoyed like the educational side of things, because again, like education for me is not just here's information overload, and it's useless, right? What is information without implementation? But that's why, this year I completely rebuilt the lean and fulfilled lifestyle to what it is today, to take a client through that 4-phase system, to take them through a coaching pathway that actually it gives you what you need at the exact time. Like in this first kind of 5 weeks, all we focused on, alongside, a training plan, the nutrition stuff, which we need to achieve our goal. But by starting to work on evolving your identity, building more self-belief, normalizing bad days, and kind of learning how to, just building one habit every single week, just stacking wins, creating achievements and exposing you to that. We've built some serious momentum. So yeah, I'm really glad that you've kind of highlighted that as well, because it's, people see a result and they just assume that, oh, I must have been really restrictive and he must just be doing some crazy workout plan. And it's like, no, we're actually doing the real work, as I always refer to, like we're actually changing behavior, which is why you've seen quick progress. And I know that long term, we're going to, it's going to stand the test of time as well.
No, that's it. I mean, and I think it's all quite realistic as well, which is one thing I really appreciate, which is, I think, like I said, the information and overload part where maybe you get just dumped, just mountains of paperwork or mountains of things to learn, for example, exercises or habits, whatever. You do it in a weekly almost cycle, which is, in terms of my opinion, quite well, because again, it gives me chance to learn, to implement, to use as well, and hopefully in the longer term utilize, of course, as well. So yeah, that's another thing that I really, really appreciated, and I think is going to have a longer term benefit, of course, as well.
Love that. And yeah, just before we kind of round it up, like based on, obviously, like we said, we're only 4 weeks in, we're flying, all is going well. Where are we heading? Where are we going to get to by the end of the year? Let the audience know. Obviously, already 6 kilos down, leaner, lighter, happier. For those that don't know, Will, is working on his MMA, so he's looking at, competing in that as well, which is cool. But yeah, talk to me, like, where are we heading? I think it's cool to know kind of the direction
Yeah.
that we're moving.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to, strive to be in the UFC by December. You know what I mean? Yeah, that'll be too incredibly ambitious as well. But I guess from the fitness standpoint, it's just trying to get some of the weight down, which would be wonderful, of course, as well. But I think for me, is to be able to stand in the ring first and foremost with another competitor as well for the same ilk would be, astronomical. Is that the right word? Just 'cause again, I like competing, but to have all these eyes on me, I think is, and also giving myself that kind of, self boost, I guess. Like, for example, like the identity thing and the normalizing the bad days, being able to give myself that kind of confidence. I think by the end, and look at myself in the mirror and say, look, I'm proud of what I got to today. That's kind of my over end goal. But no, competing, I may get a couple of wins under my belt again would be wonderful. Try and get maybe 3 or 4 interclubs in between then as well. And just generally, again, having a bit more of a positive mindset when it comes to things. Because again, everyone has bad days and that's quite normal. But especially when it comes to the colder period of the year as well, that's another thing to take into account, right? You start feeling just a bit more susceptible to being a bit moody or a bit, a bit down, down to earth, not down to earth, downtrodden is probably the better word for it. But, maintaining that kind of mindset and maintaining that kind of approach, I think is going to be quite key to me as well. So lose a bit of weight, have a couple of fights under my belt as well, and generally just be a better person when it comes to being happier, of course, as well.
Love that. I love as well how you've kind of included variety of goals. Like it's not just about the weight loss. It's, you being the best version of yourself, you being able to compete in MMA, which, has a personal kind of reasoning for you. Like someone else listening to this, yeah, you might not want to do MMA. That's absolutely fine. But it's kind of that self-betterment journey. I feel like, and I could go down a rabbit hole, so I'm not going to go down this hole too much because I could be here talking about it all night. But like, losing weight is the catalyst to changing so many areas of your life. And for people that have battled with their weight for years, when you suddenly start to lose weight, the confidence, the energy, the shift in your belief system that you gain is incredible. And it allows you to kind of then look at your life and think, well, what am I capable of? What do I want to achieve? And, for you doing MMA and being able to look in the mirror and go like, yeah, I did that, and it's kind of going on that self journey and proving yourself wrong after years of thinking and believing a certain way. It's why, I did a boxing fight to prove to myself when I was struggling at school with like low confidence and, I didn't feel manly. It was to just prove to myself after years of feeling like I couldn't, do something hard and challenge myself like that no, I could do it. And it was all in my head. And again, it's just like having these breakthroughs that when you do that, what it gives you across all other areas of your life is amazing. And that's how you step into the best version of yourself. And it's cool to see so early on in your journey that we've got these other goals as well, because weight loss is not a forever thing. And, this is what I always bang on about is that, we want to get you to where you want to get to so you feel amazing in your own skin, but then there's a life after weight loss and learning and finding things that light your fire and make you happy in health and fitness, like MMA, like running, whatever it is so important for that long-term longevity, I guess. So
Yeah.
absolutely awesome. I'll finish with this question I always do. And obviously Will has just come through my summer accelerator. So essentially a 4-week trial with coaching and obviously, continuing on the longer term journey, which is amazing. So I guess, will anyone kind of sat on the fence, anyone kind of skeptical, wanting to start coaching, I've tried to make it as easy as I can for people to show them how incredible the lean and fulfilled lifestyle is with the 4-week trials. But yeah, just kind of, what would you say to anyone who's kind of, sat on the sidelines, wanting to join in, but always like in their own head, finding excuses and can't justify it? What would you kind of, your advice be, or I guess words of wisdom to them?
Yeah. I think it's the fact that you're already on the fence already justifies you for needing to join as well, because there's no harm in doing that at all. I think, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of guts and bravery to start that journey for sure. But I think the fact that you already question yourself that should you be joining or should you be doing this as well, already gives you the answer that you should be doing it, in my opinion. Of course, that's where I was when I started my journey. Is that I was questioning, should I go for the accelerator? Should I try and improve upon myself? But I kind of already knew the answers that yes, that's the right option. So I think that rather than Dalian, because you could be asking this question for the next year or years,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So take that plunge and take that leap, because again, I didn't find myself. My initial goal was just to lose weight, but I explored myself and explored my own goals throughout the first 4 weeks. So if I'm a prime example of what I can achieve and what my goals are in the next couple of months are for the first 4 weeks, then I'm sure you'll be able to, people who are looking to join or potentially be joining, that you explore yourself a bit more further, just from that first 4 weeks that you have with Ben.
So true. And I always like to label it as this, like, if we look at what you've achieved in 4 weeks, imagine where we're going to be in 6 months. It's incredible. And just the trajectory that you can be on by having the courage to take that first step. So Will, super appreciate your time. I know we're recording this at 8:00 and you've been out and about all evening working. So appreciate your time.
No worries
Always
at all.
catch up, mate. And we'll speak soon.
No, appreciate it.